I am Supreme, and today is August the 16th, 2025, and my Astro Oracle investigation will be on Lashaya Stine. Lashaya Stine was a 16-year-old, well, I shouldn't say was, she was 16 when she went missing. We don't know whether she's still alive. We're hoping she's still alive, but we're going to do the investigation to find out. So, if she is alive, she would be 25 years old today. Okay? Lashaya Stine was an African American female from Aurora, Colorado. You can go look her up online. You will see a lot of stories about her disappearance and things of that nature. So she was born February the 8th, 2000. Okay? She was last seen July the 15th, 2016. She was 16 years old, and she was last seen and heard of 2 a.m. that morning by her brothers, her siblings. Okay, she apparently told them, what are they still doing up? I guess they were supposed to be in the bed. Big sister duties. I get it. But what happened to Lashaya Stine after that? Okay, so a brief little timeline. I don't have a lot of information on her, but that's fine because I'm a high-ranking oracle, and you are soon going to see that. Welcome to my channel for my newcomers. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. All right, so Lashaya Stine was scheduled to go to a job interview that day. She was scheduled to go to a job interview that day. A week later, she was spotted on surveillance in town. She never came home that day. Mind you, that morning she was supposed to go to the job interview. Her family went into her room to wake her up for breakfast, and she wasn't there. Her brothers reported that she came in their room about 2 or 3 o'clock early that morning and asked them what they were still doing up. The family believes that Lashaya Stine is a victim of sex trafficking. Could be. So I'm going to be looking inside of the 5th house of whatever chart comes out. And I'm also going to be looking inside of the 8th house of death and sex and the 5th house of love affairs. Her mother knew that wherever Lashaya went, she wasn't far because she left her wallet, her ID, and her phone charger at the house. Of course, when your parent would know by little signs like that, whether you went far or not. So she knows that she left her phone charger at home. I know she didn't go far. So that's all the information I have on Lashaya. She had been missing a week, and she was spotted on surveillance in town. What were you doing that whole week when nobody heard from you? Where were you at? Were you hiding out with somebody? Nobody has heard from her. Nobody. So I'm going to pull a chart with the cards, and I'm also going to pull the chart of the day she was born and the day she vanished. And we're going to compare all those charts. Pluto in the 4th. That Pluto always comes out when it comes to death. And I'm not saying that she's dead, but that Pluto card is the common denominator of what comes out, and it came out in the 4th house. That's the house of home and family. Okay? So we're going to pull her birth chart right now. I have her planetary alignments in front of me. Lashaya Stine was born February the 8th, 2000. The sun was in Aquarius and the moon was in Pisces, and y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycle. So I put Pisces moon inside of Aquarius's house, which is the 11th house. So when Pisces is in the 11th house, Taurus is rising. Pisces in the 11th house, that's Aquarius's house. Taurus is rising. This is a second house chart. Money, material possessions, security, earning capacity. The day Lashaya vanished, it was July the 15th, 2016. The sun was in Cancer and the moon was in Sagittarius. Y'all know how I formulate time. Put the Sagittarius moon inside of Cancer's house, and Cancer is the 4th house, which is where this Pluto is. So we're going to find out. I'm connecting the dots already. So when Sagittarius is in the 4th house, Virgo is rising. This is a 6th house chart, the house of work. Now, she was scheduled to go to an interview for a job. Stuff like that goes on in this chart, 6th house. So right off the bat, we know, energy don't lie, that somebody at this job, somebody that's linked to this place of employment, knows where she's at. So let's connect some dots, okay? Now, Pluto in the 4th house, okay? First, let's find out why Virgo is rising. Where was Virgo at the day Lashaya was born? Virgo was in the 5th house. But I told you, we're going to look in the 5th house because they talking about sex trafficking. They believe she was a victim of sex trafficking. Okay? And I told you I'm going to look in the 5th house of love affairs and the 8th house of death and sex. Okay? So, the 5th house is where Virgo was when she was born. And the reason why I looked in the 5th house first is because the day she vanished, Virgo was coming first. That is the first dot that I connect. Whatever shows up first, the day the person was missing, I look at where that energy was the day in the person's birth chart, the day they were born. That tells a story. Now, Virgo energy is the 6th house energy because Virgo is the 6th sign of the zodiac. It is the 6th energy in us. We all have Virgo energy. Virgo is our work ethic, our health and well-being, and the maintenance necessary in maintaining that. Virgo energy represents what you do on a day as a daily routine to take care of yourself. It represents how everything works, including the body. Okay? So Virgo is our work ethic energy. Now, Lashaya's work ethic energy is in the 5th house of love affairs, meaning everything in the 5th house, that's Leo's house. Everything in the 5th house is about fun, love, romance, children, children at play, recreational activities, amusement, the stage, the theater, the spotlight. That is the 5th house. Everything that you do for fun. And when Virgo is there, the energy of work, because work is never fun. But when it's in the 5th house, these are people that have fun making money doing what they do. So Virgo in the 5th house can represent a worker that's doing what they love to do. Especially it's like playing around. Okay? So being that Virgo came first, okay, let's follow Mercury because Mercury rules Virgo. Where was Mercury at the day she vanished? Mercury was in Leo. Like I told you, that 5th house, Mercury was in Leo. So now we know she was fooling around, which is what they call sex trafficking. But maybe in her book, she was fooling around, probably getting her money because she is a second house baby. Second house babies is all about their money and material resources. That's Taurus energy. That's why Taurus came first. Anytime Taurus comes first in your chart, that means you are a person that puts your money first. Okay? So, being that Lashaya was fooling around, doing what she loved to do, having fun, where was this Leo energy at the day she vanished? If you look in her vanished chart, you will see Leo in the 12th house. That is Pisces' house. That is the house of the hidden. That's why we don't know who she was fucking around with. That's also why we don't know where she's at. Look at where Leo is. It's in the 12th house. Okay? Now, what's going on in the 5th house of the day she vanished? Okay? Being that the 5th house of her birth chart connected us the dot to her vanish chart, which showed up first. What's going on in the 5th house? I just seen 1111 on the timer. What's going on in the 5th house the day she vanished? Capricorn. That is the energy of an authority figure. Capricorn in the 5th house will most likely be the pimp daddy, will most likely be the sugar daddy. It would most likely be the ringleader, okay? The person that's responsible, because Capricorn energy is our responsibility. That is our responsible energy. Okay, that's law enforcement, that's the father figure, that's any figure that represents responsibility and authority. That energy is in the 5th house the day that Lashaya vanished. And that speaks volumes. Now, let's see what's going on in Capricorn's house to connect further dots. Capricorn's house is the 10th house. Now, if you look in the 10th house, you'll see Gemini. That is the local environment. That's where she was last seen, including a week later on surveillance. You see it right there. That is the surveillance that she was last seen on in the 10th house where you see Gemini at. That's the local environment. That is the local environment, local streets, the local neighborhood, surveillance. Gemini represents communication, interaction, social media. And when it's in the 10th house, it represents surveillance, public surveillance. Because the 10th house is the public house, public surveillance. Okay? Public surveillance of this hidden activity that's going on. This hidden sex trafficking activity. She was in the middle of those activities. But why would she want to leave home like that? 2 a.m., you had a job interview the next day. Why would you vanish? And not only that, when you vanish, why would you still be in the same neighborhood, really thinking that nobody will find you? Let's pull this chart. Let's see why this card was pulled. Pluto in the 4th. Pluto on July the 15th, 2016, which is the day Lashaya vanished, was in Capricorn. That authority figure, that pimp daddy, that sugar daddy, that father figure, that ringleader, that law enforcement authority figure. Hell, you never know. It could be law enforcement, the police. They're human too. Now, when Pluto in the 4th house is in Capricorn, what comes first? Libra, the partner. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The 7th house. A partner. Could have been her boyfriend, her spouse. I don't know if she was married. I mean, she was only 16 years old. So, but this is the house of the boyfriend, the house of the partner, the house of the significant other. I just seen 1444 on the timer. This is the house of the significant other. Okay? Now, in the seventh house, we see Aries energy. Okay? Now, before we follow Aries energy, okay, because it's definitely going to let us know that this was about money. Matter of fact, let's follow it just so I can show you. Mars rules Aries. This is the partner, okay, seventh house. Mars rules Aries. Mars, the day Lashaya vanished, was in Scorpio, the energy of death, which is where I was going to get to. I always get to that, of course, because we want to know whether she died or not, whether she's still alive or not. And if she did die, we want to know how, where, who, what, where, when, and why. This is who. Now let's get to what. Where's Mars at? Mars is in Scorpio. And Scorpio is in the second house of money. That's ironic because that's letting us know if she did die, this was about money. Now, funny, because this is Taurus's house, the second house. And this is the house that she was born in, the second house. See that? So, where was Scorpio at in her birth chart? Scorpio is in the seventh house. Damn, the partner. See how we connect that? So we know her boyfriend, who she was fucking around with, could have been somebody a lot older than her, is responsible for her disappearance. Now let's look at where Scorpio was in the chart of the day she vanished. It's in the third house, Gemini's house, the local environment, where she was last seen in public on public surveillance. This is Gemini, but this is Gemini's house, where she disappeared and where she most likely died at. Because Scorpio is the energy of death. And when Mars is there, that is the energy of the sniper. That is the death energy. Now, let's look inside of the house of death. Now we're going to see whether she's gone or not. In the house of death, which is the eighth house, that's Scorpio's house, what do you see? Aries. She's gone. Lashaya Stine is gone. Her boyfriend, her sugar daddy, her authority figure, her ringleader, killed her. She is gone. And she was killed in the local environment. Could have been a car accident, but I doubt it because I see gun violence. 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 The lost and found. We coming for your body, Lashaya Stein. Where is your body? Where is Lashaya Stein's body? I'm almost certain she's gone. This is 9 years later, and nobody has heard from her. Lashaya Stein is no longer with us. Where is your body? Pluto is the planet that rules Scorpio, the energy of death. And this energy of death is in Capricorn, which is the boyfriend, which is the authority figure, the sugar daddy, the ringleader. the law enforcement, but it's in the fourth house of home and family. So this is somebody that's in her neighborhood. It could be somebody in her family. It could very well be her father. That's what I'm seeing. It could very well be her father. Or it could be her father's friend. Because Capricorn is the father figure, especially when it shows up in the fourth house. That's the father figure in the house. Now, why I said that was her father's friend is because in the oracle chart, which is this chart that was pulled by the card, Pluto in the fourth house in Capricorn, that's the father in the home. And the death energy, the death planet is in the father at the home. Now, where did the friend come from? The father's friend was because we got to follow Libra. Remember, Libra came first, the partner. And Venus rules Libra. And Venus, on the day Lashaya vanished, was in Leo. Remember that energy? Leo. That's that fifth house energy. And Leo is in the house of friends, the 11th house. The 11th house of friends. The 11th house of friends. And this was a hidden relationship. Somebody hidden that her family did not know she was actually fooling around with. This is somebody that knows her family. Because her moon was in Pisces. And in her birth chart, Pisces is in the 11th house of friends. This lets you know you have a lot of hidden friendships. That can go both ways. That means you can have hidden enemies that are close to you, smiling in your face. But you can also have hidden support. 2. Where is your body? Lashaya Stine. Let's pull your body. In a wooded area. That 7th house. Look at that. That 7th house. In a wooded area. Energy does not lie. And what's in the 7th house? Aries. That is the energy, that is the partner that killed her. Right? Because look where Aries is at the day she vanished. In the 8th house. Death. The house of death. The partner and in the house of death. And the day she was born, this person, this Aries energy person was in the 12th house. Hiding in the 12th house. This is somebody that knew Lashaya for a long time. Has been hiding in her energy, in her family. If it's not her father, then it is somebody that knows her father. Somebody that knows her family. And it's in a wooded area in the 7th house. So, this wooded area will most likely be in that local environment. Her body is because that is where the energy of death is. The day she vanished. Scorpio energy. Being that we're following Mars. To locate this wooded area, we have to follow Mars. Because Aries rules Mars. And Mars was in Scorpio the day she vanished. And Scorpio was in the local environment, which is where she was last seen on surveillance. So her body is in a wooded area in that local environment. Who? Who should we be tracking down, Lashaya? Who should we be talking to? Who should we be pursuing that's going to bring justice and answers. Justice to your family and answers concerning your disappearance and your death. Who? Who? Who's responsible? Who's this Capricorn energy that's responsible? This Aries energy, this sugar daddy, this boyfriend, this significant other. An accessory. There's an accessory in the 9th house. Let's pull another card because we're looking for a suspect, and there's an accessory in the 11th house. Of course, that's where the friendship is. Now, the 9th house is the house of long distance travel. That's the house of foreigners. Okay, that's also the house of churches. So somebody that was an accessory, okay, which is most likely who she was with that whole week that she was missing until they found her on surveillance. That's the accessory. Okay, the accessory is the individual. Okay, now there's two accessories here. Okay, somebody that is affiliated with a church, or somebody that's a foreigner. I definitely see a foreigner. Okay, this is also the house of grandparents as well. And I'm not saying her grandparents had anything to do with it, but I'm also not saying that either. I'm saying that, but I'm not saying that. I'm just reading the energy. Okay, now this 9th house accessory. Okay, now in the oracle chart, when you look in the 9th house, you will see the local environment. So this is somebody in her local environment. Okay, that's a foreigner. Okay, this can also be a member of a church. Okay, this can also be a college student as well. Okay, but this is also long distance travel. Okay, now this accessory in the 11th house, that's where Leo energy is. That fun and games. Okay, that individual that she was fooling around with. Because, of course, in Leo's house, you see the individual, which is Aquarius. Now, the day she went missing, look what's in the 11th house. Cancer. That's the family member. That's the actual family member. Okay? And let us find out that this family member is her father. Because when you look inside of Leo's house, the 5th house, you'll see the father. Let us find out. I don't know anything about her father. If y'all heard anything about her father, please comment below. I haven't heard anything about her father. Haven't heard anything about her father. Anything about her father. Evidence. Let's find evidence, Lashaya, that's going to bring us to your body. Because I want to still pull from the Who deck until I find a suspect. I want to find a suspect. I feel like we know who the suspect is. I just want it to be confirmed through the cards. I really hope her father didn't have anything to do with this. That wouldn't be good. That definitely would not be good if her father had something to do with this. But there are many dots connecting to that. That 7th house again. What I tell you, gunfire, firearm evidence, and weapons. Yeah, she was shot. Like I told you, that Mars in Scorpio. And guess who did it? That partner. I told you that she was shot. At first, I was like, maybe it was an accident, but no, I feel like she was shot because that Mars in Scorpio is a sniper. That's sniper energy. Mars rules Scorpio, but it rules Aries first. Pluto is the first ruler of Scorpio, and Mars is the second ruler. And Pluto is in the father in her home that she grew up with. If this not her birth father, this could be the man that she grew up with in her home. I didn't hear anything about a man in that house. But if y'all do, Do some research on him and put it in the comments. Yeah, she was shot. Yep. Firearm. I knew it. She was shot. That seventh house. And her body is in a wooded area. In that local environment. In that local environment. In her local environment. She was shot. I'm going to end this reading right here until further notice. But rest in peace to Lashaya Stine. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. Y'all be blessed.